everybody, welcome back to another video. My name is Marie and today we're saying goodbye to this sweater. I've had this one for between 10 and 15 years. I wear this all year around. It has been getting a lot of wear. I've mended this, I've cared for this. It has holes in it, it has a lot of wear in it. It's just getting to a point where I feel like I cannot wear it comfortably anymore, which means I need to make a new one. So that's what we're doing today. We're cloning this sweater into basically exactly the same one. Let's talk about this top and all its nice features. First of all, obviously it has long sleeves. The sleeves used to be a little bit more adjusted, but because of where it has kind of fallen in a little bit. The neckline is the typical boat neckline, so quite high up and quite wide. I love this. I think this is a very nice, elegant neckline. You'll see that it has two zips on either side. However, I'm not sure if I will keep it. If I'm keeping it, I'm using the same zips, which aren't particularly good quality or anything. If not, I might just make slits and not have them closed. So I will look into my options here. I might just reuse the zippers to really keep the vibe of the old top. I'm not sure yet. That's kind of it. It's just a long sleeve, dropped shoulder top. In terms of fabric, it was actually quite challenging to find what I wanted because this is a little bit thicker than your normal long sleeve top, but also not as thick as, let's say, a French terry or like a sweater fabric. So I really needed to find like a heavier weight cotton, stretchy knit, but not too stretchy. You know, it was a whole search. And then after a long while, I found this beautiful fabric from Chat sur un Fil, which is a French fabric shop. They sell a few of these heavier weight cotton fabrics. I think they are made in France and they're just really beautiful quality. It's 95% cotton and 5% elastane. I would have preferred it even more if it was 100% cotton, but you know, we'll make do. I have already pre-washed this and I paid 33 euros 30 for 1.5 meters. And I will show you the drape. You can see that it drapes beautifully, it's knit, but that it has a little bit more body than what you normally would have. And I like that this is cream. I feel like it looks a little bit more fancy, maybe even expensive. One big difference between this fabric and this fabric is the back of the fabric. I would say this is like a summer French terry, like with little loops on the back side. Might mean that this new version will be a little bit more heavy, which I don't mind. And secretly, I bought more stripy fabric. So if I want a lighter version, I can always make that. Anyway, so yeah, this is the fabric. I'm really excited. Good morning. I haven't checked in yet, but I was very busy this morning. So I spent the morning cutting off the seams of my top by seam ripping and just cutting with my rotary cutter. And then I traced all of the pieces onto pattern paper. So now I have my pattern pieces already. I made a few adjustments on the fit of the sleeve. I hope it will turn out fine because I wanted a little bit more room under the armpit. My pattern pieces also include information on where the edge is serged or finished otherwise, just so I remember correctly. So far it's going well. I'm really taking my time. I am in no rush, so it's really nice to just take my time for it. I have to say, the cutting out of my old top was a little bit heartbreaking, but when I was cutting it out, I saw more and more problems with it and holes, so I do think this was the right call to just cut this up and make it all new. The next step is to cut out the fabric and start sewing. of cutting and trying to make the lines match up nicely, I'm ready to start sewing. So first is to take the front and the back and sew the shoulder seams. Because this fabric is stretchy, I don't want the shoulder seams to start drooping. I'm adding a few strips of just plain bias binding cut in little strips. I'm just clipping this with the two fabrics and I will catch them when I sew them. Are all done. As you can see, the tape is caught just in the seam line. Next time I will overlock this with matching thread. I don't know when I will have time to come back to it, but hopefully quite soon. Usually when I start a project I want to also finish it quickly, so I try to make time for it as soon as possible. I couldn't help myself and I quickly went and overlocked the edges. I just couldn't leave it undone. And honestly, I feel like it looks really, really neat. Anyway, now I really have to go. See you later. It's a few days later and I'm ready to do some more sewing. It's a beautiful day outside, so I'm not going to sew the whole day. I do want to enjoy some of the late summer we're having. Let's see how far we get today and let's go. So what I'm going to do next are the sleeves. They are symmetrical because they're not super fitted, and what I will do is align the middle part of the sleeve. I made a little notch here with the shoulder seam. And then just pin it all along, right sides together and sew, and then it will become like this, if you can tell. This is definitely the kind of project that I use clips for, just because it's much faster and I don't need to be super precise. I will just sew this and then finish it with the overlock. That's all done, and now I'm pinning the side seams along with the underside of the sleeve, and I will sew this all in one go and also finish it with the overlocker afterwards. Look at this matching, so satisfying. Anyway, now I'm moving on to the cuff of the sleeves. I have finished the raw edge with my overlocker, and all I'm doing is a single fold and sewing that down. So this is my folded edge. I'm clipping it in place on the fold line. One very good thing about the stripes is that you can just follow the lines of your stripes and you don't have to be measuring all the time. And then I'm getting to the bulky seam here. This is my overlocked seam, and I could just fold it like I'm doing the rest of the cuff and then sew it down. But this is quite bulky because you have twice your seam allowance on top of one another. So what I'm going to do is snip here right up until my seam line and make sure not to cut my seam, obviously. Above the snip, I'm folding it one way, and under it, I'm folding it the other way, which means when I'm folding this down, like the rest of my cuff, my seam allowance is not one big bulky seam. I don't know if this makes any sense. It does to me. I'm also making sure my end of the overlocking thread, I'm pulling it underneath my little folded edge, which means that this is going to be really nice and neat when I stitch it in place. The seam line will be on the stripe, so I will be changing my top thread to a darker blue shade so that it's not as in your face as the white thread would be. this is how far we've gotten today. The sleeves are all done. I'm really happy with the finish on the hem or the cuff. The stitching is almost invisible, which is a nice surprise. And the side seams are sewn up until where the slit starts. Basically, this is a functional top. It's just not fully finished yet. As you can see, the neckline is still unfinished, and I have my binding right here. But first, let's try it on and see how it fits. Okay. I love it. I am beyond excited to see it finished. The fit is almost exactly like the original top. The fact that the fabric is a little bit thicker makes me very happy that I added a little bit of room on the armpits. Sleeves are perfect. The hems are still unfinished, so that's something I need to do. And yeah, let's crack on. The way that I'm doing the neckline is by creating a facing or kind of like a binding that will be concealed on the inside, so you won't be seeing that on the right side of the garment. It's just a strip of 4 centimeters in the opposite direction of my fabric. I'm going to sew it right sides together to my neckline, sew it on 0.75 centimeters seam allowance, trim the seam allowance, fold it all to the inside, and then stitch it down from the right side to make it nice and precise. I have trimmed the seam allowance a little bit to reduce the bulk. So the seam allowance to the binding as close as I can, really just like a little edge stitch. This way it will be less likely that the facing will be visible on the outside. And what I'm doing now is folding this and then folding it again so that it's concealed on the inside of the garment. We will stitch this down, and on the outside you will just see the stitching. It's quite a bit later now. We just went for a little walk. It's quite dark outside, so it might be that the light has changed. Then you know why. I'm finishing up the neckline now, and I'm choosing which labels to add in the back of the neckline. So this is what the neckline looks like when it's folded. I top stitched right here. We'll sew a second line right here. So from the outside you will only see one stitch line. I'm thinking of adding my little taupe label, either this one or that one. Both are woven labels. This one is a bit smaller. It says made by hand with care to last, and it's really nice quality. Or I also have this one. It's much bigger though, and I think for this project the small one fits a little bit better. They're woven, so they wash very well. They are polyester. They're not made out of cotton. I couldn't find any woven cotton labels. So yeah, long story short, I'm adding a label. I'm stitching from the right side, so I'm sure that the stitching is nice and even and neat. It's a bit of a gamble because you hope that it catches everything nicely on the back, but I prefer having this nice and neat, and in the back maybe a little bit wonky. Look, it lies quite nice and flat. I'll only know when I wear it if this gapes open a little bit, but like this looks really, really tidy and I love it. Morning everybody! It's a few days later. You may hear from my voice that I did not sleep very much last night. We had a party for Mr. Taupe's birthday, which was really lovely, but now I didn't sleep much. And I'm not really used to the wildlife. So still waking up a little bit, but I wanted to get some sewing in. I don't know how much I filmed last time because it was getting quite late, but I did keep sewing a little bit and I finished one of the zippers on one side. It was a bit of a challenge and I had to tell myself that good is good enough, and actually it looks quite cute. I did make note of all the steps to install the zipper, so hopefully it will go a little bit more smoothly than the first one. We'll see. But yeah, after this zipper I only have to sew down the hems and then I think we should be ready. So it's really the last few steps. Because this wasn't the pattern that I was following, I kind of had to figure it all out myself. And I kind of liked that because it really had my creative thinking going, and it also made me appreciate patterns a lot and well-written pattern instructions. So don't take it for granted when you have a pattern with like nice notches, everything lining up perfectly, well drafted pattern pieces, and also nice instructions that guide you along the way. It's such a luxury and I'm very grateful for them. Anyway, enough waffling. Let's get the second zip installed. So let's get situated here. So this is the sleeve, it's all inside out. So I already sewed and overlocked the side seam up until the point where the zipper comes, and continue the seam for a few centimeters. My zipper will come here, and sewing this down a little bit further helps me aligning this much better, and hopefully that will make it easier. I didn't do this on the other side and I had to struggle a little bit to align my stripes. The next step is to pin the zipper on one side. Let me show you. So the zipper is with the right side towards the right side of the fabric, and I'm just clipping it in place. And then you see that I'm getting to the part where I sewed the seam allowance shut for a bit. I just keep pinning, so there's no need to change anything. It's just that I know then that it will line up nicely. I don't know, maybe you'll tell me that's completely unnecessary. I don't know, I just thought it would be a good idea. Now I will take my zipper foot and sew this down, and I will find you after. When I come to the zipper pull, I leave my needle in, I lift my presser foot, and I shimmy the zipper back so that it's not in the way when I'm sewing. Sometimes it's a bit fiddly. So now one part of the zipper is sewn, and here at the hem, this is the front hem of the top, you see that I basically sandwiched the zipper between the right sides of the fabric. And if I now turn this right side out, it gives me a very nice clean corner, like so. And the zipper ends are nice and concealed. So it's actually a really simple technique, and I will do this on the back side as well. Now it's time to sew the other side of the zipper. I want to make sure that my stripes match up at the zipper so that it doesn't look all wonky. And what I'm doing to help that is on the zipper line, I'm marking the dark stripes just with 2 lines of pencil. And then when I go over to pin on the other side, I can make sure that these lines line up with the other side. It's basically just a guideline to know where to align the dark stripes on the other side of the zipper. So I'll do the same thing. I will just pin this or clip this all down, sew it over, and then I will find you after. Right, so it's all sewn and the moment of truth is here. Let's see if the stripes match up. Yay! They match up really well. Oh wow, that's really nice. Actually better than the other side, I think. Let me show you closer up. So, look at this matching. I'm really impressed. So yeah, matching the lines by adding some marks on the zip line is definitely a good idea. I can see a little problem. I don't know if you can see very well, but there's like a little pucker here. I'm assuming I caught the fabric. Yeah, you can see it here. I got the fabric in the seam, so I'll have to unpick this and do that little part over. But other than that, I'm really impressed with how this is looking. So this will be top stitched and closed, so the zipper is lying very nice and flat close to the fabric. And here we have it. The zipper is installed. This is what I mean with good is good enough. I have to kind of let go of the idea of having it perfect, but actually it looks really nice. And on to the hem. I'm done! I did all the hemming and the top stitching. As you might be able to see, the hem is a little bit wavy, so I am going to give it a quick press so that all the seams can relax a little bit, and then I will try it on. Eesh. Was a huge success to go from this to this. I know I will wear this a ton because I wore this so much. Thank you for following along. I hope you enjoyed watching it and seeing the process of making this shirt. You can check out my other videos for other sewing type videos, and I would love to see you another time. So subscribe if you're interested, and thanks for watching. Bye!